Hey, good evening and welcome again to another edition of What the French Toast, aka WTF. I am OBJ. I will be your guide and slash host for the evening. And tonight, I want to talk about something that I've seen recently, am a part of, and was wondering what the French Toast is going on with it. And that is finding love overseas. It has been brought to my attention that more and more men from the West, like the UK, the US, are going to quote unquote third world countries or second world countries, or basically anywhere where there is not a Western influence on women to find brides. And I started thinking, what's up with that? So I decided to find out. I have
question.
I gotta stop that. I have a video by Just Pearly Things that deals with that topic. Now I've seen about 10 minutes of it. Most of it I haven't seen. So we'll be doing reactions to this in real time. And it's gonna start off by asking a very important question.
So you're not in a relationship?
No. No.
So no.
Are you sure?
It's Kelly, so I mean, I'm not.
There might be a relationship soon.
Maybe.
There's a guy you like.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you're in a relationship?
No.
You're not. You're in a relationship.
Yeah.
Would you guys, if you guys were to marry the person you're talking to in a relationship with, would you quit your job if he told you to?
Okay. First question we're going to tackle is Pearl's question, which is, would you, if you were to marry a man that you have selected as your mate, if he asked you to quit his job, would you? Most of the women, actually, most women that I know of, and all the women on this panel, will say yes. Let's see if we're right with that.
No questions asked.
If I've married him, if I've married him, it means I trust him to lead, and I would trust his decision in that, and I would trust that it's for the best interest of our family.
Okay, yeah, you would.
Yeah. So if he said to me, oh sorry.
Go ahead, you go.
Sorry. So if he said to me, you know, I think you should. You quit work, and I'd be like, yeah, again, I trust him in that, and I'm ready for that, because I feel like he's allowed me to step into that feminine energy, and I no longer have to be like, right, I need to be on it, I need to do this, I need to do that. I'm on my own. I'm not on my own anymore. I can trust him, lean into him, and yeah, so I'd love that, actually.
What about you?
Same, I would really love that. I think I would be like, I'm really ready to settle down now. Like, I would think about kids. So I think, yeah, like, if he is in control and if he's leading this whole marriage, then I would say, yeah, of course.
What?
Ding, 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 ding. I'm right with 100 points. Every woman on this panel said yes. Yes, they would. They allow the man to lead. I wonder, would they really? Would they really have the wherewithal to allow the man to lead? Now I say this because of those three women, two of those women have children from a previous relationship. which begs two questions. Question is one, why did they leave? And two, once they left, they had to take on roles of both parents, so they involved those in their masculinity. Who's to say they could turn it off that quickly? And as made earlier, point made earlier by Sarah Garvey, shout out to Sarah. Who's got time for that? Can you grow into it? Absolutely. You can grow into a role. But in order for you to grow into the role, the other person has to think that you have the capacity to do so. If you come off all tough and argumentative and disrespectful, because I've seen women do that, and all these negative masculine traits, what man in his right mind going to say, yeah, she seems to have the potential, I'll go with her? No. They're not. They're going to go through the date. They're going to smash it if they can. Or otherwise, they'll go through the date, take her home, and that's it. You might think that's not fair. She's trying to change. But most men are of the mindset that past performance is indicative of future behavior. How you treated the last guy is how you're going to treat them. And if you were argumentative, if you were disagreeable, if you were aggressive, assertive, dominant, all those masculine traits, they're going to think, what's this thing? What's something for doing it to me? Now, you could actually be like, I'm trying to change it, I'm changing it, I'm changing it. You could actually change it. But that first date sets the imprint, sets the tone for what that relationship is going to be. And coming off is anything other than feminine. Fit, feminine, friendly. Those are the three dominant traits that a man's looking for in the first date. Is she pleasing to the eye? Is she easy to talk to and get along with? Or does she have a steady disposition? Now there are other things that are going to come into line later on. And the participants in this relationship can either take them or leave them. But that's what it comes down to. The initial attraction is attraction. You're pleasing to the eye. Your aesthetics are nice. You look good. So I will attempt to talk to you. Because you look good, but you look better with me. Let's continue with our video.
What if
Independence went out the window.
What if he made $40,000 a year?
I mean,
I'm just curious. You still would.
in the affordability, there would be lots of objectives.
No objections. This is you're trusting him.
I'd have some questions.
No questions. That's not submission. That's not submission.
We already.
Did you hear what Pearl was saying? This girl's trying to qualify, and she's saying that's not submission. And that is one of the main things that men look for, submission. If a man says to you, I think you should quit your job, he's got reasons, and he's got a plan in place to compensate for the loss of income. if I was to tell my wife tomorrow, because she's working, and she came home and I would say, you know what? You should quit your job. I see how they're doing you. I don't appreciate the way they do you. I think you should leave the job. What she would think in her mind is, why would you say that? Excuse me. But if she was being submissive, she'd say, okay, I'll quit. Or at the very least, she would say, what are you going to do about the lost income? And I tell her, oh, we'll do X, Y, Z. If she trusts me, she'll be like, okay. Anything other than, okay, is a problem. And it's a problem because it's going against submission. And once again, submission in and of itself is not a bad thing. It's not a bad word. I can't not say that enough. You can be submissive. But that doesn't mean that you have to kowtow out everything the man says. That's not submission, that's subjugation. And I think that today's women conflate the two words. I don't want a woman to subjugate to. I don't need a woman to subjugate to. And I'm sure my wife doesn't want someone who wants to subjugate her. What I want is someone who, when I say something, will agree to it. Now, that process for most married people these days is a two-way street, because a man will say something, a woman will give her opinion about the pros and cons for it, and then the man will decide whether or not it's to go forward with it. That's the back and forth between normal people and a normal marriage today. Honey, I think you should quit your job. Well, if I quit my job, we'll lose money and won't be able to do things we want to do. And the man will say either, you got a point there, maybe, okay, I guess not then, we'll have to do it another way, or don't worry about it. We can do X, Y, and Z. We can do this, we don't have to do that, and we'll get by. And the bottom line to the whole back and forth I just did is that the man will have the final say. He'll take what she says on board. He'll mull it around in his head. He'll weigh the pros and cons of the argument, how it applies to the discussion at hand. He'll then make a decision. That's the way things should go. When you have someone who feels threatened by submission, they're going to be, wait a minute, what do you mean I got to do that? I don't got to do nothing. I'm my own woman. I'm my own boss. I make my own money. Blah, 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 blah. And all that because she misconstrued what he said. She didn't hear what she said because she wasn't listening. See, that goes back to this point that's recurring over however many of you have been before this. You don't listen. You think you listen, but you do what I call subjective listening, in the sense where you pick and choose what you want to hear, what fits your narrative, what's going to further the discussion in your favor, and you discard the rest. So, I think you should quit your job becomes quit your job. Whatever do I think? Why did the statement become a demand? And since when does a demand come from a statement? I think you should quit your job. It's a statement. It's an opinion. And I've come to the opinion based upon what you told me and what I see. I never said quit your job. Just like I would never say, trust me. Because too much can go wrong with those two words. And when someone says, trust me, in my mind, something contrary is going on, and you should get away from that as fast as you can. But that's neither here nor there. Excuse me. Let's get back to our video.
Know that he's going to lead the family, so
Yeah,
I
this
would.
is dying like 40,000 yes. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Well, but yeah,
Okay.
if
said
able,
no,
then
you said
yeah.
no, you said
But,
no.
but I would, say no, like, because
Now's your answer.
then I
that's
wouldn't,
fine.
then
Yeah,
I
now's your
wouldn't
answer.
stop.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Alright, so she's. I feel like that's kind of a no. But no, but then yes, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like he must have worked something out. And,
And he'll know.
I don't know, yeah, he must have worked something
And I
out. And I'm a
think-
trust and believe.
I think the difference between Western women and women from abroad, like taking it back to the subject, is that the women from abroad would probably be more submissive and not question as much. And I think, I don't know, I want to ask the guys here, right? Do you think that the women from the West or women abroad would make better wives for you guys? Do you know what?
Good question. Would Eastern or Western women be better for the guys abroad? If you're looking for quiet, if you're looking for submission, if you're looking for femininity, I would say Eastern. There are exceptions to every rule. I have one. I was lucky enough to find her, and I was lucky enough for her to accept my proposal of marriage. We've been married for over 27 years now. Through the ups and downs, goods and bads, hues and theirs, twos and fros, calm seas and rocky waters. Or rocky waters, oh good grief. Choppy waters. Let's continue.
Well, for starters, I haven't had problems getting submissive women in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'd say 50% of the people I've been in long-term relationships with have been, even if they live in the UK, they've had their formative years in another country.
Right.
And very, I'm not going to say submissive, I'm going to say very feminine. Like I've heard people say, we both have masculine and feminine.
You can say submissive. It's not a bad word. See, he's part of the reason why there's such a pushback against the word. I'm not going to say submissive. I will. Because submission is not a bad word. I cannot say that enough. Submission in and of itself, as a concept, as an idea, as a practice, is not a bad thing. Is not a bad thing. It's not. Simply means that the woman in the relationship will allow herself to be led by the male. There are different degrees of submission. But submission in and of itself is not a bad thing. Go on.
The energy in us. But all the women I've been with, I can't even imagine them being supremely masculine at all. Like, they're so feminine that even when they're trying to do masculine type things, it just comes off feminine, and
Do
that's
you
femininity
mind
to
me
me.
asking, like, what countries they were from, respectively?
The one I'm really thinking about now, she was brought up in South Africa.
Okay.
And another one I'm thinking of, she was like her mum's Filipino, so
Right.
you know, and a Filipino that wasn't born here.
Yeah, right.
So she's got that influence.
Yeah.
I think ultimately women in the West are brought up to be more independent, whereas women in different cultures may be brought up to be independent, but ultimately are brought up to serve the man. So based on that, they're wired differently and they have different goals or they play different roles in comparison to women in the West.
I like that answer. Western women are raised to be independent. Eastern women are more interdependent or dependent. Where a Western woman would be like, I don't need a man. An Eastern woman would be, where can I get a man to do this? I don't need a man for this. Where can I find a man to do this? Those people who think like the gentleman does up there on the upper left-hand part of your screen, they understand. They get it. And that's why there are a lot of guys like myself who said, I don't want to deal with this. I mean, today I was thinking about people I had to deal with, people in the West, American women in particular, and they're a lot of work. They're a lot of work. And I'm not saying that for shame or guilt or anything like that. It's it's my truth. It's what I believe to be true from my experiences and experiences of people around me. And I know there's truth to it because back in the day, my best friend was dating a Latina. Now he like me had our run-ins with American girls. They were more the shall we say, visa chicks, for lack of a better word. We found them to be more agreed. And more willing to be compliant. That doesn't mean that my word was law, or his word was law. Not at all. What it means is, when we ask them to do something, more than likely they would do it. And a lot of times without hesitation. Back to the video.
It comes to marriages and relationships. So it's just,
Yeah.
that's just what it is, basically.
Yeah, and also I just want to piggyback off that and say, I think a lot of women in the West, they look at it as it's almost like a job that they kind of have to do to look after a man. Whereas other women raised in other parts of the world, they look at it like they want to do this.
Right.
And I find whenever I've been with a woman long term or just even dated them short term, they all seem to want to do feminine things for me. Like they want to do my hair, they want to cook for me. I've never had to ask a woman to cook for me. I mean, it might be something about my energy as well. I don't know.
I think that factors into it as well.
Yeah. Well, that brings me to another point. You know, the guy on the clip that we can't show.
Yeah.
You know, he said he did well over here. but it's
But
just
he went
that
to Russia.
he went to Russia because there's just more of what he wants, and I really don't see a problem with that, by the way. You know, if you think that you're going to have more options, more of what you like in a certain country, why wouldn't you go?
But
Spot on. If you can't get what you desire at one store, go to another one. You might find it. You might not. But you won't know until you try. You'll never know if you don't try. I went to, how to say this? No, never mind. Back to the video.
from what I've seen, is that there's a lot of women, because they're called the passport bros. Shout out to the passport bros. Shout out to the passport bros. There's a lot of women in the West now trying to shame passport bros. Men who are actually
Like we
going.
saw in the clip.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they look like bullies going up.
I think it's the delivery. I don't necessarily think, because you can have a choice and a preference of whatever you want. I think it's the delivery of shaming another type of woman just because you like something else. It's like I like this because this your preference. If that's your preference, you like women from Russia, then say that and say I want to go here. But you don't have to give. The reason is because of, just say you like that.
So you-
I think the stuff he said was true.
Well, yeah.
True, yeah.
And like we are more overweight.
Yep.
The UK, they always talk shit about the US, but y'all ain't been here. Y'all ain't been here.
Not like America.
Your obesity stats are better, but not much.
And I wouldn't.
It's because we follow America. We're like little puppies after America.
And that's the thing, and we are less submissive in the West. The women outside of here were raised more to be wives. And instead of shaming men for saying what's true, I think we should say, maybe we should try to learn from them.
Exactly.
Shout out to Pearl's White School. Okay?
I'm gonna be on it now. I need me a husband. I'm joking. But the thing is I was engaged to get married. But it's like, do I stay in that relationship where he's gonna continuously cheat on me just so that I can be a wife?
You don't get points for almost.
I didn't ask for points.
No, I'm just saying,
I didn't ask for
I've been
points,
engaged
though.
too, but I never got married.
No, but my point is that do I, for me to get across that line of yay, I can be married, do I then have to be that submissive that I then put up with being
What sort of guy was it? Yeah,
But you're not a virgin. You weren't a virgin.
There it is. Money shot number one. She's saying that she can't get over she couldn't get over the fact that he cheated. Are you a virgin? No. So what's your point? You can't, okay, to put it in terms that everybody can say it, and Pearl loves this analogy. Why would you buy a used Honda at BMW pricing? Because that's what you do. You buy a used Honda Civic with 236,000 miles on it. Tires are suspect, chassis is suspect, exhaust rattles, the interior is not clean. It's a runnable wreck, but they want $145,000 for it. For that, I could get a brand new BMW. And to tie things in rather nicely, the actual BMW factory themselves will give you that same car for about $35,000. Brand spanking new. Why in the name of decency am I going to go grab that used Honda? Why? Make it make sense. Because it doesn't. Why would you pay new car prices for a used car? Why would you take someone who is masculine, argumentative, aggressive, overbearing, dominant, disagreeable, assertive, all those traits that you have yourself, when you can find someone in another location who's going to be fit, feminine, and friendly, who's going to want to cook for you. I mean, going back to myself, my wife may complain, but she does it every day without fail, unless she's not here. She'll cook, she'll clean, she'll do the laundry, she'll do the dishes. I do too. Sometimes I just do it. Sometimes she does have to ask me or remind me. She may say the night before, I'm not going to be here, would you mind doing the dishes? No, not at all. Because I know you do it for me. I know she'd do it for me. Back to the video yet again.
Virgin for him, right?
You had children.
We've got children, yeah.
Were you no, I'm saying, were you a virgin?
No.
And
And
that's what I'm saying. Like, in a way, we cheat on our husbands by not saving purity for them.
Money shot number 2. Women cheat on men by not giving them their virginity when they get married. I think that goes without saying. But then I have to say to that, this. Why would we have to even ask about it? That ties into that whole body count thing. What a lot of guys don't ask, because a lot of guys don't want to know. I can't speak for most guys, but I can tell you for myself. There are times there are women I really, really wanted to get with when I was younger. And I'd have a dream that we were married with children. And I couldn't tell you how we had the children. And that used to puzzle me till now. I realize now that's because I didn't think about it, because I never thought about them in a sexual way like that. I don't want to know what they did before me. I don't want to know. I truly don't want to know. Does that make me a bad person? No. It says I should be a bit more careful with my decisions. But my decisions worked out because I'm still married. All right, Pearl. What else you got to say?
And we're gonna shame them for cheating? I would cheat on us too.
Would you stay in a marriage if he cheated on you?
You got kids?
No, yeah,
Hell yeah, if you got kids. If you got kids, it's not about
because
you
then that's
anymore.
teaching, but it's also then teaching your son that it's okay to be that.
Why would your son know about that? Why would he be exposed to that?
Yeah.
He's a blueprint, so automatically,
No.
if his dad is constantly cheating, I'm not going to be happy.
But are you going to tell your son that he's not cheating?
I call lies. The son's not going to know. Because he's not going to be taught that unless the father decides to teach him. You need to run out. Get yours every now and then. Sow your wild oats. A lot of these things that I talk about on my podcast, a lot of them are based on common sense. If you want your child to experience a happy relationship, irrespective of whether you have one or not, you're going to teach them the things that they need to do to find and keep their life partner. You're going to teach them things that they need to know that they can do in their everyday to bring value and longevity to a relationship. That's common sense. That's common sense 101. And a lot of people don't know that. All right, let's go back.
No, I haven't told him, but at the same time, I'm not going to be happy.
Yeah, it just looks like mommy's not happy. It doesn't look like
why should a child see that?
Don't you think you're in control of your happiness? You don't think it's a choice?
Yeah, my choice is to not stay in that relationship that's going to continuously cheat on me, so I'll be happy. My son has brilliant co-parents.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. So, like, you're putting your happiness over what's best for the kids. And that's, like, why a lot of times... And that's why a lot of times, like, men are leaving for the West. Because it's, like, women here, like, think it's about us when it's not about us. It's about the family first. And I know, like... And the other thing is, 1 out of 3 men are either virgins or haven't had sex in the last year under 30. Like, there are...
I'm going to stop that for a minute because she said something that now makes a whole lot of sense to me. She said women in the West tend to value their happiness. Eastern women tend to value their family. I don't know if you guys know this, but on BritBox, they show EastEnders. EastEnders is a BBC drama about living on the East End of London. Hence the name EastEnders. Duh. And one of the principal families, I can't think of their name, but I know they're Indian. And it started off with a mother and her 4 children. And she used to always say, it's about the family. I do this for you guys. It's about the family. And it didn't dawn on me till just now what she actually meant. And why she would be attractive to a Western male. Because she will do something. She'll do whatever it takes to further her family. If that means she's going to do some dodgy deal, so to speak, she'll do it. Because in the end, it's going to affect her family positively. And that's what she wants. Continue.
There are men that you could pick that would be faithful to you, but if you go for a guy that's attractive to you, he's going to be attractive to other women.
That's what I was going to ask her. I was going to ask you, was he a top 20% man?
Was he good looking? We were both in the military. I was like 18 when I met him.
But was he good looking? Okay, so I'm saying, if you looked at your man, was he the type of man that other women wanted?
Of course.
Right. Okay. So what happened is, you probably chose a top 20% man because you were attracted to him, right? Who is also attractive to other women.
A caveat: women find 80% of men as unattractive. So if you found him attractive, he's probably in the top 20% of men.
Right. So what happens is, there's a top 20% man who's got 80% of women to choose from, right? And so I'm saying, and I'm not condoning what he's doing. I'm just saying, if a man is in the top 20% and he's got 80% of women throwing their panties at him, right? At some point in time, he might take that option.
And we don't run that hard, to quote Chris Rock. And if you think about it, there's a lot of truth to that. Women can say no with ease. Because ever since they were 13, guys have been trying to have sex with them. And let's be clear about one thing. When males hit puberty, their sole desire in life is to have sex with a woman. Unless they're gay and then they want to have sex with a man. Not judging, just the way it is. Women, by their nature, are finding this from not from day one, from the time they hit puberty. So by the time a woman's 19, 20, 20 years old, she said no a lot more times than she said yes. And we guys have heard no a lot more than we've heard yes. So, yeah, we don't run that hard. Because in the back of our mind, we're thinking, she wants sex. This must be my lucky day. Why do you think women and men both say, did you get lucky? Keyword there's lucky. Continuing.
And I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. I'm saying women generally go for men, right, that other women find attractive.
Of course.
Because you don't go for men who, work at Starbucks and they're stacking shelves generally. And you don't go for those men. So what happens is part and parcel of choosing a guy that other women like.
Is that you've got to put up with being cheated?
I'm not saying you've got to put up with it. I'm saying
it might come with it. Me as a parent now, in comparison to me as a parent because obviously I had a daughter. Me as the mother that my son has now, and my ability to give him the calm from my feminine energy, I wouldn't have been able to do in that relationship.
What? Hun, what are you talking about? What does that have to do with the cost of tea in China? What does it have to do about anything that we're talking about right now? I mean, yay for you. Hooray. Golf clap. But what's your point?
So for me, 100%, my son gets the best of me out of that relationship.
Can I?
She didn't do it. She couldn't stick the landing. A word of advice, and this ties into yesterday's podcast, How to Survive a Podcast, series coming soon to the Jazzy Groove Podcast Network. Make your answers clear, concise, and to the point, and stay on topic. I know I break that last one because my mind meanders all over the place. But I tell people that's going to happen. I've told you all that's going to happen many times over the course of a video. During the course of a video, I may think of something that'll derail me, and my mind will wander, and I'll dwell on the next point, and then have to bring it back. But I do eventually bring it back. If they're talking about, what are they talking about? If they're talking about, let's say, if they're talking about mail order brides, finding love abroad, anything that you're going to add to their point should have something to do with finding love overseas. What she just said has nothing to do with that. I applaud her for that. But at the same time, it's like, You're making your son feminine. You're part of the problem. But it has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
I just simply say, for the lady with the son, I don't think you'll have to worry about any influences from outside of your husband or anyone else that your son's going to learn how to cheat. Your son will know how to cheat when he gets older, when women simply offer themselves to him.
Yeah, of course.
So there's no, this is again, I see that as a cope. It's like
I think it was about my happiness.
I got rid of him because exactly. Again, it comes down to you. So it was actually your personal choice for your well-being, not your son's, not your daughter's. It was really your.
I'm sure if we started psychologist.
So do you? I'm just curious. Do you think your happiness is more important than the family and your son's happiness?
My ability to feed into my children determines my 100%. If my cup's not full, then I'm not able to fill my children's.
Answer the damn question. Do you think your happiness supersedes the happiness of your family? That answer should be no. I live for my children. Their happiness comes first. Without question. Yes. That's not what she said.
Wait. And you don't think you control your emotions in any way?
Not back then, no. I was so young. I was in my early 20s.
Which I understand.
Now,
maybe it was like, in hindsight, would you say it was a mistake?
Being with him 100%.
No, not being with him, leaving him.
No, not at all.
You would do
I would do it exactly 100%.
Do you know what's interesting is because like even last week I was talking about I actually watched a TikTok video and I say it was on TikTok, but it was actually a conversation between a man and a woman who had just divorced her husband, and he was asking her, "Why did you divorce your husband?" And she was saying he was too good with money.
What?
And this is what she was saying. She was saying he liked to save, didn't like to spend. You know, he was always talking about, oh, we got to save for a rainy day, blah, 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 right? And she left him because he didn't do the things that made her happy.
Money shot number 3. A woman divorced her husband because he saved too much. He didn't spend money on things she wanted, where he was looking at the bigger picture. And therein is the problem with modern day relationships. For the most part, and once again, there are exceptions to every rule. But for the most part, men are macro, women are micro. Men tend to look at the big picture. In this guy's case, we can save this money so if one day we really need it, we have it. So I'm going to be frugal. I'm going to encourage you to be frugal. She felt, I don't want to be frugal. I want to spend money now. Could the money have been spent now? Yes, it could have. But it's not what he wanted. If she was submissive, she'd be like, I don't like it, but okay. And she would have seen down the line that she'd be rewarded for that. Because I'm a big proponent of, if you rock with me through the lean times, you gotta be with me when it gets good. You will be rewarded for your patience. All I ask is that you rock with me through the hard times. I'm a big proponent of rewarding. Remember that time when we were broke and living in that bedsit? And you could have left and you didn't? Here's $5 grand, go spend it on yourself. And it's not because, or only because I can do it. It's because I want her to get the stuff that she wants. There have been times where I have been very, 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 very down on myself because I couldn't get my wife the stuff I felt she wanted, what she needed. She'd be the first to say, no, I don't need it, don't worry about it. But that's not how I feel. And one day I will get her the stuff that I feel she needs. And then some. Because she rocks with me when I'm down. And in truth, that's all I really need. That's all I've ever wanted. For someone that will pick me up when I'm down. Someone who will hold me and simply say, it's going to be all right. Let's get back to the video one more time.
But what he was actually doing was doing that to secure the family unit,
Which I get,
right?
yeah.
And so when a woman says,
Wow, did I call it or what? I call it. He was doing it to secure the family. He was thinking large scale. He was thinking long term. He was projecting, he was seeing the future. Where she's more worried about the present.
if I'm not happy, then I'll do X, Y, and Z. Men have to watch, I would say men have to really watch out for women who care about their happiness over the actual family structure.
Yeah.
Because that means that, because you know as a woman, your happiness fluctuates from week to week, from day to day, from month to month as a
but
woman.
there's happiness
right?
and deep depression. They're two different things.
But what I'm trying to say is a woman is so led.
Sign language. Shout out to the late great Kevin Samuels. Shame, insult, guilt, and the need to be right. And again, she needs to be right. So what about it? Trying to throw something. There's a difference between happiness and depression. No shit, Sherlock. I would have never known that. Where have you been, my life? Thank you for telling me that. I would have never known if you hadn't said that. And Sherlock keeps his composure during this. I'm telling you. I don't know if I could be that calm. I mean, I probably could, but thank God we don't have to know about it just yet. We don't find out anytime soon.
By her emotions, right? And the man is more so led by logic.
Pragmatic, yeah.
Pragmatic, right? And so when a woman says things like, "Oh, because I wasn't happy, that's why I left," in my head, I don't know about the other men. I'm like, red flag,
There's
alarm
happiness
bells.
and then there's happiness and then there's being cheat. Like if you're constant, it's not like I left at the first cheat. Like I didn't just be like, "Yo, bye, peace out, thanks, this is fantastic." Not at all. It took a lot for me to get to that point. I did not want to be a single parent again.
And there proves another point. I don't know if she was cheated on multiple times. But I guarantee you, 6 to 9 months before she ended it, it already ended. And all the signs were there. But because we're simple creatures, and to quote a popular song, as far as I know, nothing's wrong till I hear it from you. We're blissfully ignorant when it comes to this kind of stuff. Yeah, multiple bodies, la la la, I don't know about it, la 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 la. Now, he knows what he did. He knows it's wrong. But as long as she doesn't bring it up, he can go about his business and hopes and prays that she never does. It is what it is.
How did you find out about the cheating?
He had a whole relationship with her. My son was. She phoned him, and I answered, and we were. And she
I was having a whole affair.
Yeah, and she was crying down the phone, saying, "Oh, he told me that you two weren't together," and yeah. Anyway, I won't go too deep into it, but.
And what did he say about it?
He tried to deny it, obviously, but
so you took her word over his.
She provided me with enough evidence to prove that her, truth to it, and then eventually he was sending flowers.
Did you ask him why he cheated?
He just says every vagina, like it's just a different vagina. That was his response.
Do you believe him?
Yeah, 100%.
So you don't think it was actually emotional?
No. I think he's like so opposite to me. He's like the opposite, and he's so pragmatic, so logical, so like we see the world.
Isn't that what attracted you to him?
No, he's really funny. No, I'm joking. He's really tall as well. No, I'm joking. I was eight. Actually, to be fair, to be fair, when I met him, I was at war in Iraq, and it was fucking 50 degrees. And then I think it was more the fact that we were both in the military, and so when you're both in the military, you have an understanding of being away from there was a lot of things that went into me ending up with my son's dad.
One thing I just want to highlight, Pearl, you had a guest that was a Pakistani lady who had her father had an entire different family in Pakistan. That to me goes to the heart of the culture and sort of rooted values that certain people from different countries have. Here's a lady who's had a husband cheat on her a couple of times. I'm out. Here's another lady who had her husband have an entire different family in a different place.
Did she know about it?
The relationship.
She didn't know about it.
And that's the thing. Like Western women, we're not wrapped.
She knew about it, hence the discussion on the podcast. Back once again. Listen.
Or dies. It's like one problem and we're out. And especially like he didn't even emotionally cheat. How do we expect? Like I don't think you could really expect monogamy. I don't think you can expect monogamy if you're not a virgin. Like I think you deserve monogamy if you're a virgin, but if you're not, like you're kind of cheating on your future husband.
Preach. You couldn't keep your legs closed until I met you. Why the fuck would you expect me to stay faithful to you? You weren't faithful to me. And that's why I don't need to know what she does in her past. Because I know you weren't faithful before you met me. I know you weren't waiting for me. And I also know that these days, sex is easy to come by for women. Preach to him, Paul. Preach to him.
I think I deserve emotional stability, like in the sense that it's the lies, the gaslighting, that like as a woman, your intuition can pick up on certain things, and if you're being gaslit so many times, and you're like, hang on, am I going crazy? Is it so for me? It's maybe if I even broke it down even deeper, was it the act of having sex with somebody that hurt me, or was it all the lies and the making me feel like I was crazy and actually nothing around there?
Was it like you asking where he was? Was it text?
If you ask a question and there's just little things because there were so many times that it happened that it was like it wasn't the first time. So
what do you think you would have done if he just told you the truth from the start? Would you have stuck around still, or do you think you still would have left?
Well, I've been in polyamorous relationships, so it's not like after as I've got older, I've understood the complexities of men and understood that sometimes if I'm not able to give my partner something that he potentially maybe can seek from somebody else, maybe I'm open to that. I'm open to the conversation. But if you take away my right of choice, I get to choose whether I want to be with like that person, and also like when it's polyamorous, it's very open, and you know who that person is,
Alright.
and the energies that are being brought into your home and stuff.
After you had your son with him, what if he chose to say, look, I want this to be polyamorous now? How would you feel?
It would have to be a discussion. I don't know because it.
Well, he's saying, I'm doing this regardless.
Yeah, but then that's not a discussion. That's him telling me something.
So you would have been out then, basically.
No, I'd have the discussion. I don't know how I would have felt in that. Maybe if, because polyamory works both ways, so maybe if I can, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? So maybe if I can have my emotional connection that he maybe wasn't giving me, or the deep conversations, maybe I can get that from somewhere else.
Do you believe?
That never works. And women can thank pair bonding for that. That's why when a woman falls in love with a man, she sees nobody else because she pair bonded with him. Men don't have the luxury because pair bonding happens through sexual intercourse. And different chemicals are secreted during the process.
Do you actually believe that? Really? What you're saying to me?
Do I believe in what?
Do you believe that you would have actually given it a chance?
100%. I wouldn't say. I would
you
just
did
say
leave.
no. Yeah, that was like however many years ago. I'm a very different person today. The person you're talking to now is a very different person to who left when I was.
But back then, so say you had your child.
Oh no, I would
together.
have left.
Yeah.
I would have left.
What
But
are
we're
you
talking
talking
about.
about?
So you said it was the lies. So you said it was the lies, but he
No,
would
yeah,
have. You
because
would have.
yeah, but he'd already lied at that
Yeah.
point. You're talking about a
Was he cheating before you had your child?
Listen, I said that.
Before you had your child, he was
I
cheating.
said that many
Yeah.
times.
Do you think that sex
So
is
why did
to
you
men?
have a-
Do you
why
think
did you-
do you think
So
that's-
why'd you have a son with him if you
Guys,
cheated?
guys, do you think that sex is to men that what attention is to women?
I think men seek intimacy through sex, so I think they don't know how to be intimate in a different
Yes or
way.
no? Yes or no?
Sorry, say that again.
Do you think sex is to men what attention is to women?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so would you argue that we cheat on men by having open Instagram accounts while in a relationship?
Wait.
What? This whole video is a little over 2 hours in length. And you can watch it at your convenience. It'll be in the link below. And take from it what you will. The question at the beginning of the show comes down to, should men look overseas to find happiness? I say if you can, go for it. If you can, go for it. The very worst that happen is that you come back here and be just as disappointed, but at least you tried. But then again, you might find love, you might find happiness. Before we go, because we're going to wrap it up now, jump rate in 5. Like 1 second. Easiest thing and the quickest way for the algorithm to see that you like the content and want to see more of it. Comment. Good, bad, or indifferent, I encourage you to leave it. We cannot grow if we don't know. I can't say that enough. Plus, if you want if you have an idea, a topic, if you just want to vent, leave it in the comments. Your vent, your heartfelt way you felt, could turn into a show. And you can sit back and go, I helped make that. And you did. Some people are commenting how you felt about this topic in the comment section. So yes, comment. Subscribe. You want to be in the know? Click the subscribe button. Put you in the loop. And you get to see all of our topics, all of our content, whenever you want. Notify via notification bell. You want to know when our new stuff becomes available? The notification bell lets you know. You'll be notified on the phone, on the tablet, on your computer. It lets you know when new stuff's about to be available. So you can be one of the first people to rock with us, consume the content, and then it goes all over again. You like it, you comment on it, you subscribe. Well, you don't have to subscribe to it because you already subscribed to it. You like it, you comment, and then you do the next thing, which is the fifth thing. Share. You like what we're doing, let other people know about it. They may like it. They may refer to other people. Those 5 things don't take a lot of time. And it may not be much to you, but to the YouTube algorithm, the AI that helps keep the lights on means a great deal. Because if you like it, it says, that's why you get the stuff at the end of the show. People that like this also like whatever. That's the algorithm saying, well, if you like this, you might like that. If you like this, you might like that. And that, and that, and that. And so on and so forth. I can't say it enough. Those 5 things help YouTube's algorithm promote the show organically. We don't buy anything. And at the very least, a like is free. Commenting is free. Subscriptions are free. Notifications are free. Hell, commenting, sharing is free. The only time that you have to pay is if you want to take the next step and subscribe to our and make donations. Totally optional. We can use it. We like to have it, but we don't need it. You'll find that below too. So, that being said, thank you very much for allowing me into your home this evening. I am your most highly favored, humble, and grateful host, OBJ. And I say, peace to you all. Be safe. And good night.